Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here with 60andMe. Thank you so much for being here today and welcome to a new day in your life. I hope that you're doing okay wherever you are. I'm just so happy to be able to talk to you about things that are on the minds of women over 60, and one today that is going to touch on some of my own personal story, and it's all about that favorite word that starts with an M, money. And I want to talk to you today about how your childhood experiences with money has maybe shaped your life as it is today, and also how to have a financial plan in the future that is independent, that doesn't necessarily depend on a man in your life, a woman, another partner, because I think that we all have to think about money independently and individually. So what is one word that describes what money means to you? Power, independence, freedom, security, love, whatever. What is the word that you associate with the concept of the word money? And that word is a concept that's been shaped with you since you were a little child. And I've got some interesting stories to share, and you probably have too. And that's what makes this community so wonderful, is that we all have a story. And as 60-year-old women, we've been through a lot with money. We've had ups and downs, no doubt. And, you know, it's something that sort of stays with us and is woven into our personality. And how you handle your finances in relationships is actually a really important thing to discuss. Now, Marie Burns is one of our bloggers. She wrote an article which is actually, are you expecting your man to be your financial plan? And that's sort of taken from the lens of a woman in a relationship. But I think that everybody watching this is going to be able to get something from this conversation. So peel back the onion, she says, and get to the place where we understand where our feeling, our logic, our understanding of money actually began. And she says it all starts, of course, when you were a child. Now, remember, when you're talking about, relationships and how you deal with money, men are, maybe for many of us, been a really important part. They played an important role. But 90% of women in their 60s and 70s are going to be financially independent. And it's a sad fact that 90% or 80% of married men die married, and 80% of married women die single. So, unfortunately, men don't live as long as women, and we find ourselves in our 60s, 70s, 80s alone dealing with our financial situation. So let's go down memory lane. Let's go back to our childhood memories, because I think that's where I would like to start, and maybe you've got something as well. So what was your first memory of money? What was your first memory of money? I'm just going to stop for a sec so you can remember that, because it's super important. Okay, so I personally, just to tell you quickly my story, which may help or not, but I was raised, in a very poor family, in the sense that we didn't have a lot of money. We had a lot of love. We were on a journey together. My parents married just after the war, and we relocated to Canada when I was 8. Lived in North Bay. Maybe some of you women are living in Toronto or Chatham, that kind of Ontario area, but I lived in North Bay. We lived in a little teeny house. It was like one bedroom for the kids, 3 kids, and one for my parents. We had no refrigerator. You can just imagine the story. It was really a challenge. And my mom used to always hide the cookies. I mean, that's one of my first memories, is that she'd always say they're for special occasions, and she would hide them. And we would actually go around trying to find the cookies. It was like a big deal. But my very first memory of of money, was when I stole some money from my mom. I took money from her purse and I put it in my money box, or my dollhouse, I think it was. So it was in one of my toys. And she knew this. She knew that I had taken it. So she came to me and she said, Margaret, do you know, Mama has lost some money from her purse. Do you happen to know where it might be? And I remember as a little child, maybe it was 5, 6. I wasn't very old. And I remember saying to her, I actually must have been a little bit older, maybe 7. Anyway, I said, no, I don't know where it is. Where could it be? And she said, well, should I help you find it? Should we look for it together? My mom was so smart. And I said, yes, that would be great. So of course we went straight to my money box, and there it was. And she said, well, why did you take that money from Mama? Explain to Mommy. And I said, well, I took it because I knew that we didn't have very much money, and I wanted to have it in case you needed me to give you some for help. I'm bringing tears to my eyes, even as I'm saying that, because I can remember it as if it was yesterday, of, you know, stealing money from my mom so that I could give her money when she needed it. And so it was a beautiful little childish way of thinking about saving and putting money aside so that I could help my mummy when she ran out of money. And she did very often. We didn't have a lot. So that was my first memory of money, that it was something that you had to protect, that empowered you to eat, that it was so important that you had to go to the lengths of stealing it from your mom in order to have money to give her. And so it was a giving desire to give, to be generous. And I have certain characteristics in my personality today that go back to that. I'm a very generous person, even with gifts and with giving and helping. It's the first thing I think about, and it's just my nature. And I think a lot of it was shaped by that. Now, that's a little bit of a long story to tell you kind of where my childhood memory came, but I think it's worth asking you now, what was your first childhood memory? Now, I forgot her name now, Marie. Marie tells a story about a little girl, which is another one that's so impactful. She was very poor, again, not much money, but there was a dance, a May Day dance in England. They're like a celebration of spring. And she only could buy a dress and no shoes, or shoes and no dress. Only had enough for one. So she chose to buy the dress and to wear her old shoes. And in the dance, unfortunately or fortunately for her, what happened was they put all the shoes in the center. And then a boy had to pick this pair of shoes out that he liked or thought were interesting, and then go find the girl and dance with her. And of course, hers was the last pair of shoes to be chosen. The boy was like, he was holding it, she said, like a dead rat. It's an awful image, but it was like, you know, who's the girl that has these shoes, and I've got to dance with her. And from that point on, she felt unworthy, not beautiful, you know, just ugly, not attractive. You can imagine what that would do to you if you were a little girl. But anyway, that's her childhood memory of it, and that's incredible. And I think Marie mentions, you know, that these kinds of these stories, these experiences are so powerful when we get into our money relationship as we get older. So you've absorbed these money messages all your life, and all these conversations that you've heard, your parents, maybe tears, crying, worry, you know, deceit, whatever. There's all these kinds of things that happen because of money. And the rules that you might have had around saving money, spending money, wanting money, you know, at any cost, or not wanting it, whatever. These are these unspoken memories, and maybe it's the relationships with your siblings as well during those formative years when your brain has like no ability really to filter. It just soaks everything in and just you know, just shapes who you are. So older and wiser, yes, we do get older, not wiser sometimes, but we do get older and wiser and start to refine and sort of become money. Our money relationship becomes more subtle. She talks about then relationships, and maybe this is a good point to talk about the 3 or 4 different kinds of relationships with money that we have with a partner. And these again shape us. And then when we get to be, you know, in the situation where we're divorced or a widow, it's like these are what we bring with us. So the first one is the driver and passenger couple. You know, this is where the husband's the driver, the wife or the woman is the passenger, and you know, one takes care of all the financial decisions, and the passenger just enjoys it and relaxes and doesn't worry about it. It's just not on their mind at all. The second one is the joined at the hip couple. This is the one where you share, you split your money. If you're both working, you put it into maybe the same account, and then you each pay a certain, I'll pay the rent, you pay this, and it's pretty much like split down the middle, where there's equal responsibility. But the passenger is also the couple at that point is usually only brought in for the important big decisions. So maybe equal on every front, except when it comes to buying the house, buying a car, buying, you know, so that usually in that case, it's the man. So in that sense, a woman can be, you know, pretty resilient and independent, but at the same time has never really had to weigh up the taxes, the big deals that can really influence your financial story as a couple. And then of course there's the one which is she calls them the divide and conquer couple, which is both both people in the relationship decide equally all decisions about finances and split the duties half and half. That's where a lot of younger people are these days with their relationships with money. The women are more sensible and cautious. A lot of us older women didn't do that. We didn't ask for equal responsibility. And if we find ourselves alone, which couple model are you in right now? Are you the driver and passenger? Are you the kind of joined at the hip? Or are you the ones that are kind of deciding financial situations together? It's a really interesting question, I think. So everything starts with, just acknowledging where you are, what your childhood brought to the table, what your relationship with money is with your partner, or if you are by yourself, and now what? Well, we have tools. We have tools we can utilize. We can take an inventory of what we've got, what our savings are, what our lifestyle is going to require in retirement. And this is an important conversation that we have to have with our partner or with ourselves. And you have no idea how many women come to me with in 60andMe community and say, I've just become a widow, I've just lost my husband, and I honestly don't know how to fill the car with gas. And it seems ridiculous to even say something like that, but for many, many women, that is the intensity of the dependency that a lot of women have had on men. I think a lot of women in our community, it'd be really interesting to do a survey one day, but I think a lot are single or widowed or divorced. And so a lot are on their own. And maybe this story is more to do with like the legacy of your relationship with money. But for others, maybe this has helped in a deeper way. So have a great day, everybody. Please tell us, what childhood memories you have of money and what came to mind as you listened to this video and examined your relationship with money. Look forward to your conversations. I hope you don't mind me sharing some of my story. It just, for me, was just connected me to the reality that we're all facing. But do take care of yourselves. Have a really wonderful day and be well. Stay strong and calm and healthy. Take good care, everybody. Bye for now.